Alright, here is Atraxa, Praetor's Voice, 4 cost, 4/4, Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, and most importantly, Proliferate. In Super Friends, that's why she's there, to proliferate the loyalty counters. That's really the only thing I use her for, and occasionally maybe to block smaller creatures, but that's her purpose. That's what gets the job done. So we're going to start with the land base. I have 3 swamps, and I have 3 of the snow-covered plains. I have 3 of the snow-covered islands. And 3 snow-covered forests. Alright, a myriad landscape I basically use to grab lands I need. Fetches, I got polluted delta, windswept heath, flooded strand. For shocks, I have hallowed fountain, godless shrine, temple garden, watery grave, breeding pool, an overgrown tomb. Now for the check lands, which I really like running: Senpetal Grove, Glacial Fortress, Drowned Catacomb. Okay, lands that give me any color. So Reflecting Pool is going to give me any of the 4. Command Tower, Rupture Spire, Exotic Orchard, which is great for multiple colored decks. Okay, some of my utility lands, I have Wasteland, Reliquary Tower, because there's going to be a lot of draw, or there can be anyway. Strip Mine. Okay, we're moving on to the artifacts, because that's going to be the other half, basically, of our mana pool. So Everflowing Chalice. Every time we proliferate, we're going to get a charge counter. That's why it's in the deck. It's really useful in this specific case, so it's in there. Okay, Gilded Lotus I run in a ton of decks because it's just so good. 3 of any color. That's going to really help with some of our planeswalkers to cast. Lightning Greaves, basically just here to protect Atraxa, keep her out, and keep us proliferating. Darksteel Ingot is great for any color indestructible mana. Really helps against blowing up artifacts. Contagion Clasp is just going to help us proliferate, and also it's going to throw -1/-1 counter on whatever completely annoying creature is giving us a hard time at the time. Soul Ring with my favorite art. Love this art by Mark Teeden. Great classic here. I like to run that one whenever I can. Jite is just another thing that's going to benefit from Proliferate. These charge counters on it just gives you a multitude of options, so it's really great. Just throw it on Atraxa. Mana Crypt is pretty much necessary. It's going to really speed things up. Nevinyrral's Disc, just a great political board wipe. Just keep it out, crack it when you need to. Rings of Bright Hearth is amazing in this deck for any planeswalker ability. As long as it's not a mana ability, you can pay 2 and copy whatever it is. And this could get stupid depending on how many walkers you have out, how much mana you have. It's really a good card for this deck. Contagion Engine, same as Clasp, but it's going to basically double Proliferate. So, this is really an excellent card. It costs a little bit more, but it's going to take off pretty quick. Thran Dynamo, I like to run a lot. Just a classic card there. Chromatic Lantern. Any deck that's running 3, 4, 5 colors, I always have a copy of that just for helping set up your mana base. Chain Veil is really great as far as being able to activate loyalty abilities multiple times. Rhystic Study, anything that's running blue, this is just a great draw spell. Sometimes they're going to pay the 1, but hey, you're either drawing or you're using up your enemy's mana, so why not? Oath of Nissa is just going to really help as far as casting the Planeswalker abilities, or casting the Planeswalkers in general, really. Lets you spend mana as if it were any color. So a lot of this stuff is really involved around either ramp, like burgeoning. I run in everything that runs green. I have probably a copy in there. Inexorable Tide is just another enchantment that's going to help us proliferate every time we cast a spell, which it's just a good card. 5-drop. Oath of Ajani just came out in Aether Revolt, so I added it to the deck. And it's just reducing our cost for the Planeswalkers. You're going to give a counter to Atraxa too, which is, it helps. Doubling Season. Here I have the French version, but it's a must-run, basically, in a Super Friends deck. A ton of the Planeswalkers we have are going to ultimate right away with this card out, so that's just ridiculous. Phyrexian Arena, one of the best draw cards in the game. Anything that has black is going to, at least in my decks, is going to run this card. I have the Apocalypse art, which I love. Exploration, just like Burgeoning, gets you a lot of mana fast. For a 1-drop, it's ridiculous. That's why it's not allowed in most formats. Explosive Vegetation, just more ramp. Can't beat, a good number of ramp spells in a deck. You always want to get the fastest start you can. Call the Gatewatch. If I get this out, basically I use it beginning game to get established with certain Planeswalkers I want out before others. So we'll get into that when we go over the Planeswalkers, but this is what I'm going to use basically to get that started. Yeheni's Expertise is kind of a new addition. It's just a good card. All creatures get -3/-3, so it's not going to touch Atraxa, but everything less than her it's going to wipe out. And then play another card for free from my hand. Yes, completely. Okay, and board wipe, Wrath of God here in Spanish. It's just that's a must run. Supreme Verdict, another board wipe, which is great. Can't be countered. Perfect. I love the art. Treasure Cruise, especially when you're running fetches and, you're filling up your graveyard a reasonable amount. It's just basically an Ancestral Recall. So, great. Vindicate, we need lots of targeted removal. That's what I've found from playing this deck, because you want to pick out specific targets that are really giving you trouble. That lets you hit any permanent. Swords to Plowshares, more removal. I put a ton more removal than I usually would in this deck. Cyclonic Rift is a must run in blue. Every blue deck I have has a copy of this, just like I think most of you probably. Just a great card. Overload it and it's going to really help you win games. Beast Within, more removal. Mortify, again, more removal. That lets me hit a creature or an enchantment, which is great. Swan Song, I've got a few different counter spells in here. Disallow. This is just a great new card. Lets you, it blocks the activated ability and or triggered ability, which is really helpful. Putrefy came with the precon. I kept it in there. Really useful. Counterspell, I run that most of the time in blue. Force of Will, I have a proxy here basically because I just can't afford like 300 of these for every deck. Okay, Vampiric Tutor, I'm generally going to use that as another Planeswalker tutor. But, it's situational. You can get any card with it, so it's an amazing card. Love the Visions art. Krosan Grip, and if you have green, you're running Krosan Grip. That's just how it works. Perfect card. Mystical Tutor. Again, I can use this to grab draw spells if I need to. And these tutors are really great for multiple different situations, so I run as many as I can. Anguished Unmaking, just destroy another permanent that's giving me trouble. At instant speed, works really well. Enlightened Tutor, I'm generally going to use to grab mana rocks, just to keep me set up. Okay, Creatures, I have one creature. In a Super Friends deck, I really don't need creatures. I can make creatures with my Planeswalker, so I have Deep Glow Skate. He's too good not to run. All we need him for is his Enter the Battlefield effect, and then he's done. I used to think, we can blink him a bunch of times, but I think it's easier just put him in, then that's enough. As long as he resolves, he's going to blow your board up. I mean, it's just going to be crazy. And there are certain Planeswalker's abilities I can use to blink him also in here that you'll see. And we can also grab him from the graveyard if we need to. But I mean, he is one of the best creatures for this year's Commanders decks, really, for 2016. I love this guy. But yeah, he's the only creature besides Atraxa that I need in the deck. Alright, now we're going to get to our Planeswalkers. Ooh. I have somewhere between 23 and 25 Planeswalkers. Okay, I have Tamiyo. She's just too good not to run in any type of blue Planeswalker deck. She's going to tap permanents for us, save some trouble. She's a good draw. And also the no maximum hand size and the recurrence from after, instead of graveyard going to your hand really, really helps. Liliana Vess in foil, just a beautiful card, but she's such a good utility Planeswalker. You can have your opponent's discard, you can tutor, and then you can also reanimate with her. Just really useful. And a lot of these Planeswalkers you'll see, if you have Doubling Season out, a lot of these you can ultimate right away. Tamiyo, Field Researcher, wins games with her ultimate. That's basically why she's in here. Really good. Basically, she's going to give you card draw. She's going to tap permanents. And then, yeah, her ultimate's ridiculous. Nissa is one of my favorite early game Planeswalkers to get on the field as soon as I can. She's going to create those 0/1 chump blockers for you. She can put counters on them if you need to, but basically all I'm using her for is chump blockers and then the draw and life gain. But she just does a lot of work. Garrick, another good utility guy. He destroys a bunch of shit, creates beasts for you to block, gives you a little bit of life gain, and his ultimate, you put it on one of your opponents and they're just done it's going to get ugly for them very quickly. Especially if there's somebody playing aggro somewhere. Kaya is another good utility. He's going to gain you a little bit of life, going to let you draw. And that's all you really need her for. And she can actually blink Deep Glow Skate if you need her to. So it really rounds out the deck. She's just really good. I like her. Definitely for the draw, because you can just never have too much draw. You always need fuel for the fire. Sorin, he was kind of a new addition. I did have a different Sorin in here. I had Lord of Innistrad, but he is actually a bit better because you have the extra draw with him, and then when he creates all those little knights, gets stupid. Elspeth, Knight Errant. Elspeth is just an amazing walker in general. Gives you the 1/1 whites. Can give him +3/+3, and you want her for her ultimate. Basically gives all your stuff indestructible, which you need, especially with all the board wipes people are going to be running. You're going to see a lot of hate for this deck for sure. Jace, he's just a game winner. Everybody knows Jace. You play him if you have blue, and he wins you games. He does a little bit of everything. Vraska is really good destroying permanents for you. Non-land permanents, anyway. And then those 3 little assassins basically can win you the game in a multitude of ways with this deck. Just an extra win con, basically. You can ultimate him right away if you have Doubling Season, or only 2 turns in the ultimates, anyway. Ajani, Mentor of Heroes, is great for, basically it's like a collected company effect for one of his +1s. And also, you can bulk up your chump blockers, and that gain 100 life, especially when you use it with Grim Nemesis. That's just crazy, and you can do it pretty quick. Actually, the turn he comes out if you have Doubling Season. Sorin Markov is probably the best Sorin for this type of deck. Right when he comes out, you can have an opponent lose 30 life in EDH. That's just crazy. You get to control turns, all kinds of stuff. Okay, Garrick Wildspeaker, that untap lands thing, has saved my butt more times than it hasn't, trying to play one extra card a turn. Also, he's going to give you the beast, and it's just good. I don't really use his ultimate much. Venser, Sojourner, he's excellent. His emblem, whenever you cast a spell, you can exile a permanent. I mean, that's a game winner right there. Narset, I have her for ultimate because that's just ridiculous. It just completely locks down for the rest of the game somebody. I mean, it's just, everybody else, it gets stupid. Kiora she was on the fence for a while, but early game, she is so good. So good. Obnix, I just added into. I took out a few other planeswalkers that I really wasn't getting a lot from. He just does, the destroy creature, draw, and his emblem really helps. Tezzeret, I basically use. He's really good to use with the Mana Rocks, keeping Mana Crypt from hurting you too badly. He's good if you run Mana Vault, which I might add in later. Good for summoning up other artifacts, the important ones, Chain Veil, Rings of Brighthearth. Karn, game winner. Everybody knows Big Karn is an awesome card. If you notice, you see some Tron sub-themes in here. Pulled a bunch of stuff out of there just to put in. Ugin being another one. He's just a game winner. Ugin's one of the better planeswalkers I've ever seen. Very powerful. A little bit costly, but with, you get rocks, you get established, he's going to win you the game. Dovin I just added too because he's really great for draw. And also, basically almost like a Winter Orb effect. It's going to really help control the board. Once you get that emblem locked in, your opponents are going to not like you very much. So he's excellent that way, and it was a good addition, I found. Teferi is maybe my favorite planeswalker. He's probably going to get a majority of the hate once you play him. You can use his emblem right away, and it's going to just allow your other planeswalkers to wreak havoc all the time, basically. And his untap ability is just insane. And Elspeth Sun's Champion is another great beginning game planeswalker, and that just about wraps it up here. Enjoy.